So the second high school project, the conversation for that project started probably 6 or 7 years ago, at least. And so we've been steadily watching enrollment. And one of the reasons that we ended up building the Wilk is because we knew there would be a time when we didn't have quite enough room at the current high school for all of our students, but we also knew we weren't quite at the point where we needed a second high school. So our board and administration asked the question around what programming could we offer our students, and then one of the end results was the Wilk being a building that can help relieve some of the pressure on the current high school. So then the committee work for the second high school started in May of 2016 with a group of students, parents, and staff members wrestling with the question, what do we really want our second high school to look like? What do we want that experience to include? And after the committee completed their work, then in the fall, there were several visits to several other high schools throughout the Midwest that were recently constructed, and so that would give us an idea and some opportunity to vision what that second building would look like. After that, about 17 user groups were established, and those user groups included teachers, administration, nutrition, staff members, as well as our theater, fine arts folks, phys ed, those kinds of things. And those user groups started meeting in the fall of 2017. And our architects were charged with facilitating those meetings to make sure that we're planning appropriately for what it is we need within those classrooms or other common spaces that would then support the teaching and learning and the comprehensive educational experience for all of our students. Those user groups met 1, 2, 3, 4 or more times depending on the space that they were trying to design. In order to pay for a project of this size, the school district and the city of Waukee entered into a 2080 agreement. So there are 160 acres on the site, and about a third of that is dedicated to the city, where they'll have ball fields and a pond, and then 2/3 is dedicated to the school. And so we have been working closely with the city to make sure we use our funds wisely. However, for the school district portion of this, the district presented a bond to our community last February, and for $117 million. That included $1 million that would be dedicated toward upgrading some of the spaces at the current high school, and then secondly, the $116 million will be dedicated toward the facilities for the second high school. The bond referendum was taken to the community and was passed with 90% plus support, and a yes vote for the bond did not increase property taxes, so that was a big plus for our community as well. So the timeline for naming the second high school, determining the colors and the mascot, we're actually in the process of establishing a timeline and a process that is set to begin after the first of the year. It should take about 3 months or so to get the high school named, and then after that the mascot and the colors will follow. So by next fall we'll have that portion of the project.
Well, the new design is intended to be more inclusive for students' learning activities. It's trying to give you a more personalized space, trying to give you spaces to individualize your own learning. So we've created spaces within the building that have a lot of areas like the Wilk does, spaces for collaboration, spaces for group projects, spaces for individual learning, so to get away from the crowds. Just really meant to allow opportunities throughout the day for you to tailor your learning to the way you want it to be. There's a few areas around the building. There's in each classroom wing, there's several classes that are your basic standard classrooms, but within each of those classroom wings, there's kind of a living room area that is meant for that informal learning, to get together with groups or to sit down on your own. It has soft seating, more different type of seating within those areas, and then off those areas is areas for technology, and then some smaller conference rooms and a smaller project room to allow you to kind of do different things in those. Those areas look out over a roof terrace, an outdoor terrace that is a space where students can get away during the day. It overlooks the lake north of the building, so it's kind of a nice feel to it. It has visual connection then back to the media center and to the collaboration areas.
From a design perspective, building a building in essence in 2020, the year 2020, from an architectural standpoint, a design standpoint, the interior and the exterior of that high school will be reflective of what you see in some of our new buildings right now. For example, the Waukee Innovation and Learning Center. And it'll also be representative of some of the things you see in business and industry, where there are open spaces that's inviting for students and faculty to work together. We will actually transition to collaborative spaces and common spaces for our teachers to touch down or to office out of. All of our classrooms, or many of our classrooms, will not be what we call teacher-owned. That will maximize the ability for teachers to use those classrooms more. So when a teacher is off or planning during a period or a block, they would transition into a touchdown space or that common space, that office area, and then another teacher would probably go into their classroom and teach. That, with a growing school district, that'll just maximize the opportunity to use classrooms to its fullest extent. So opportunities for students at our second high school will look similar to our first high school or our existing high school. In terms of our athletic split, we're transitioning to 2 athletic programs. That will actually begin in the fall of 2019 with our 9th grade. So we're transitioning to 2 9th grade programs in nearly all of our sports. Some of our sports will not transition right away. And then 2020 we'll transition into 2 10th grade programs. And then culminating in that fall of 21, where we'll have transitioned to 2 varsity programs, comprehensive varsity programs.
We encourage anybody that's interested in following the progress of the project to log on to our website. There's actually a connection to the second high school, and there's a lot of information regarding boundaries, the process for naming the high school, the colors, the mascot, the square footage, the construction project. There's also a portion of the website where our community members can submit questions, and so we really encourage that too if people are really wanting to know what the latest and greatest is all about. And we like to rely on the facts because people are so excited about this project that they start to speculate. So we really work hard to make sure once a decision's been made, that information is then posted on the website.